Get myself online. So welcome. I'm super excited to have you here. This is such an important conversation. In order to see your business grow, you need to be an effective networker. And one thing I know is I am often in a networking meeting where I'm thinking you've left opportunity on the table. Or perhaps you're in my network and we've known each other for years, but we're not sharing referrals back and forth. If that's the case, it's likely because there's a lack of clarity and a lack of reason for me to connect the dots. And so one of the reasons I brought this workshop into my business, I run it regularly, is to help people stand out from the sea of sameness. If you do not make a great first impression, not only do you leave opportunity on the table, but you're leaving impact on the table. And networking isn't just about who is in the room. It is really also about who do they know. And so many times I see people get caught up in thinking, if I don't have immediate success, I give up. Or they treat networking like a hit and run, which is they vomit their business all over people. And that really isn't effective either. So what we're going to take you through today is both knowledge as well as your chance to come off screen and actually implement this. This is something that I think needs to be done out loud. It's really simple to say, I know what I'm going to say in my networking conversation. Then the moment you show up and someone puts you on screen and you're like, I don't know what to say. And so we're going to tackle that today and show you how to use networking infomercials more effectively, because I want to see you make a bigger impact. So who am I? Well, I am a business success coach who never set out to be one. And I want to tell you briefly that story. So I knew from an early age I would be an entrepreneur. I had no idea what it would take or what direction it would look like, and how it has turned out, I never would have imagined. And so if you're thinking in your business right now, I don't really know directionally what I want to do, that's okay. The dominoes fall when you get into action. And so a fateful day, I was 1,400 kilometers away from home, and I had had a great day in business. I was supporting half of Canada, small businesses, making them be more successful, independent business owners. And I was imagining a glass of wine and email on my evening plans before I flew home in the morning. And I walked into the hotel lobby and there was HR and my boss. That's never a good sign. And it wasn't a good sign. I walked into the lobby and found myself without a job, something I never imagined and something I never saw coming. And it set me off in a redirection, because while they detonated my life in 15 minutes or less, they got on a plane and flew home. I wasn't so lucky. I actually had to spend the next 14 hours in the hotel room overnight, far from home, and having to make that phone call home that said to my husband, sweetheart, I've just been fired and I need you to tell the kids. And I don't know what happened. I don't even have any answers, but it doesn't change the reality that I am without a job. And it was challenging. I spent most of the night on the bathroom floor, just so we're clear. And yet I had to pick up my life. And it took me a while. I'll be honest, it did take me a while, but I knew at that time I made a promise to myself. Number one, I would never let myself have a single source of income. I would never be dependent on my social circle for my friendships. And I would never really set the boundaries where it was 100% work and no play. So as a business coach today, I help a lot of small businesses navigate from buying a job or having an expensive hobby to actually being successful. And one of the most important ways you need to learn on that journey is you must create demand. You must create demand for your services. You simply can't launch a product and hope the world comes finds you. If you think that that is how it happens, I will tell you, you have subscribed to the Kevin Costner Field of Dreams business strategy. If I build it, they will come. And guess what's happened? You have a whole bunch of crickets in your field because it is a movie storyline and should not be your business strategy. And so I started my first business. It'll be 6 years ago, actually 6 years ago last week. I started on the 11th of June. And within that first year, I was networking a lot. I was treating my business like a business. I did it 1 hour a day. 1 hour a day, my business doubled every year. Not about how many hours. It's about the connection. It's about the conversations that you're having. And people kept saying to me, what are you doing? I said, well, I treat my business like a business. And if you want your business to pay you like a business, you need to treat it like a business and learn the skills. Because none of us start the journey having all the skills we need, but we learn them. And we learn them by gaining confidence one step at a time. And so today we're going to take the step on communication and storytelling so that you can master your networking infomercial. And so give me 1 second. I'm just going to pop up a presentation that we'll use as a foundation to talk about how we're doing it. So give me 1 sec. Let's just hit the button. And while we're doing that, I want you to come in before we take you through any of the education, and I'm going to open up your mutes and come onto screen if you can. I want you to introduce yourself to the group as the way you would or are currently if you showed up in a networking meeting. And this is your chance also to meet some new people in the room. So I'm going to start just based on where my screen is, and that is Lisa in my top left-hand corner. So Lisa, tell me how you would introduce yourself to an audience if you were networking today.
Thank you, Christine. Are you a solo professional or small business owner? Overwhelmed with all your tedious tasks within your business? Do you need to find a solution that works for you? I'm Lisa DeToffel, owner of Tiger Eye Solution, an expert virtual assistant business that supports speakers, coaches, and solo professionals with tasks such as social media, email and calendar management, website design, and so much more. I'm located in the upstate of South Carolina and serve professionals throughout the English-speaking world. And my tagline is Order and Intelligence for Professionals. Thank you.
I love it. Okay. Deborah, how about you?
I have several different ones. So do you want it just like a 30-second?
Yeah, pick whichever one you think is your strong, confident lead.
Okay, and I have two, and I need more help, two businesses. So I need more help on the other business. Or if you have suggestions for this one too. So I start out with, who loves the hugs and laughter with our children? Hi, I'm Deborah Kosis, and I guide parents striving for more to create loving, gratifying relationships with their children for a lifetime. Healthy parenting, and I do this through a 6-week course, private coaching, and soon to be online courses as well. Healthy Parenting 360, and my information will be in the chat.
Okay. All right, Denise, you've just popped up. You're my third one on the row. So
that I'm ready. I've made a lot of changes lately, so it's I don't have anything rehearsed or written or anything like that at this point for what I'm aiming towards. So, hi, I'm well. Let me pull out something I worked on yesterday. Just give me a sec.
No problem.
I've been creating a bit. All right. As a Serenity expert, I'm the only one that teaches how to shift crisis to oasis for women 50 and over, whether they speak French or English, who wants to rock the second part of their life in an era of increased stressful uncertainty. I'm Denise Bellel, and I'm a Serenity expert in positive intelligence. With my help, you'll be able to navigate to those hard times and find a way to really rock your life. That's it.
Thank you very much. Okay, Adriana, are you able to pop on and share your story?
I don't know. This is the first time I'm hearing these.
That's okay. There's no right or wrong answer. This is just how you would do it normally. If someone walked into a room and said, hi, who are you?
Hi, I'm Adriana Steinwedel. I'm the creator of the Invest in Your Health System. I help people who are have just been told they have pre-diabetes or have just been diagnosed with diabetes to naturally help them lower their blood sugar and hopefully get them out of those designations. And I'll put my information in the chat.
Okay. All right. And Sherry, are you able to jump on and share yours? You're muted. Want me to unmute you? Let me unmute you.
Sorry, I'm finally getting to eat between meetings. So I don't really have an infomercial. So I was just, do you have chronic health issues? Do you know your inflammation markers? Are you managing your health? Hi, I'm Sherry Mills with Your Wellness Redefined. I'm a functional nutrition transformational coach. I, at 60 years old, transformed my own health and my life has changed forever. And I am wanting to pay it forward and help others obtain the same thing to have a better quality of life.
Awesome.
Something I threw out there.
Okay, so the one other thing I want you to do, pop in the chat, is if you have a pre-done list of links or a list of what you do, when you do pop it in the chat, I want you to pop it in the chat because we're going to talk a little bit about that space in a second, but I want to know where you're starting from. And if you do have one that you copy and paste when you go out networking. And when we do that, I will bring on my presentation and we'll talk about it. So it's true what your mother says. Certainly my mother says this. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. And one of the biggest challenges as business owners we have is that we don't think a lot about our first impressions. And if our business has been around for a while, it might be evolving. The story's evolving. What we serve and how we serve might be evolving. And yet some of the information that we use when we're networking is out of date. And there is a big disconnect. You got to remember that every single day people are making instantaneous assessments based on their first impressions. And if it's not a positive one, they might not give you the opportunity to make a second one. And so I want you to be thinking as you leave today's workshop, what is my first impression? When I show up in meetings, do I put my best foot forward? Am I clear on what my intention is from that session? Because if you show up haphazardly, you're leaving an impression to your audience, which is haphazard. And that may not be confidence building and never lead to a conversation about your business. And so hopefully today we can give you some food for thought to polish your first impression. We're going to take you through 4 things today. Number 1 is, what is the purpose of a networking infomercial? Number 2, I'm going to talk about a framework to use storytelling, because when you use story, you stand out from the sea of sameness. There's nothing worse, and we've all done it. We've been in a networking meeting, and for the 3rd or 5th time, someone stands up and says, hi, I'm a financial advisor, and I'm going to help you save money. And they're not standing out at all. And using big words like that cannot be an advantage. And we're going to talk about that. I'm going to talk with you 4 styles, 4 frameworks I particularly like to use when I am coaching on this, because it gives you a place to start. There is no magic one infomercial. I recommend that you style flex and use different ones in different audiences. And depending on whether the people in the room are familiar with your business or they are making, again, that first impression, because different stories will be relevant based on your relationship with the people in the room. And we want to talk about what is the outcome to know if you're effective. And it might not be what you think, because it might be not clear in your ask. And then finally, I will tell you today one of the things that I've got going on in my business, because we said when I started my story, you must build an audience first in order to message in a networking place. And so if you don't have confidence in how you actually build demand for your business, and you are still subscribing to our Kevin Costner Field of Dreams business strategy, I do want you to know that there is an upcoming event that I am running. It might be relevant to help build that skills, because you can build a business without spending a ton of money. But if you are not building your audience, it is hard work. And without consistent revenue, it is a struggle to be committed to your vision. So let's talk about, what is the purpose? I want you to either feel free to come off mute or to pop it in the chat, but what is the purpose, your number 1 goal when you speak about your business? Tell me what your number 1 goal is.
To be able to talk about how you help other people and you solve a problem for them.
So you're educating on a solution. What
And
else?
we also hope to get more business out of it.
You're hoping for business. You are. Let's be clear. Let's not make that an elephant in the room. The goal, the reason you're here is you need more clients. You need more impact. It's
Building
100%.
relationships with the connections that you have so that you can refer to each other.
Yeah. So you are looking, again, not for a hit and run. It's about the long term. Anybody else? Reasons or the purpose behind networking? What's your goal when you do it?
To put your name out there, to meet quality people that you can build a relationship with, know, like, and trust, so you can refer each other business.
Absolutely. When you are speaking about your business, you are making a first impression. You are there to establish your credibility. You are there to give your energy to the room. You are there to light up and add value to the space. And you do all of this with one simple strategy. And if you spend any time in and around me in my business, whether this is in workshops or in my courses or on my social media, you know I am about simple. Never get lost in the simplicity of business, because business is really simple. It's three things. You need to meet more people, more ways, more often. That is about your audience building. 50% of your time needs to be spent doing that, or you will not see consistency in revenue. The second thing you need to do is know where your value is, and not the value as you perceive it. So this is a really important distinction. It's value as your audience perceives it. You got to know what their problem is. And often we don't. And that's why we make it about ourselves. But that is a misstep that can leave potential on the table. But the third thing you must do in business to be successful is make an offer. I tell people when they come and work with me, and this is just a baseline, I want you to tell me in the last 30 days, how many new people have you met? And how many people have you had a second or third or 10th conversation with? Because that's the relationship piece. But I will tell you, chances are the number's not high enough. That's why you're here. We need to network more effectively. We need to be meeting more people, because your business is built on strangers who become friends, who become respected peers. We must nurture that. But number one is your visibility. Number two is how many offers did you make in the last 30 days? If you did not make an offer in the last 30 days, I will tell you your revenue line in the next 30 to 90 days could be a giant zero. And you can correct that through action taken today. But the reason you show up and the goal of your infomercial, I told you it was simple, starts with a C. You want to spark curiosity. And so as you go back and you think about how you introduced yourself when I opened the room, was your goal creating curiosity? Some of you used questions to lead your intro, but you didn't pause to let anybody respond to them. So remember your thought. If you take nothing away from today beyond this, I want you to be thinking about how, with every first impression I make, whether you do it in a network, you do it one-to-one with a potential prospect, client, or collaborative partner.
Something, but it didn't sound like a knock.
I lost my phone.
Oh, give me one sec. I'm just going to mute. I want you to be thinking about curiosity.
Yay.
Good. I got a couple things. Nothing interesting.
Just want to check to see who I've got who might not be on mute, but just watch that background noise if you can. So curiosity is what I want you to be focusing on.
It's Tamara.
Thank you so much for being such a lifesaver that day.
You are welcome.
Oh, let me do that.
Hello.
Here we go. So curiosity. Curiosity is the goal whenever you speak about your business, whenever you create a first impression. It is about relationships. It is about people. It is about the essence of who you are. It is not about the how. When you are meeting somebody for the first impression, be cautious focusing on the how, because nobody cares about the how until they know and care about you as a person. When people want to explore doing business or collaborating with you, the one thing they're doing first is not buying a product. They're establishing likability and their confidence in you as a person. So curiosity is a key message I want you to be taking away from today. And then the next component to that is, how do we create curiosity? We create curiosity with stories, okay? One of the most important things you need to remember is nobody cares about your name on a Zoom screen, because unless you're trying to teach somebody to pronounce it, it is on the screen. You do not need to say it. Second thing they do not care about is, what is your business name? Because they don't know who you are yet. And if you told me at 3 seconds after you introduce yourself, I can't remember what it is. It's wasted space. But what really separates you is your stories. And a great story has 3 elements to it. And this can be flexed from a 30-second infomercial to a 5-minute infomercial. You need a hook, a story, and a call to action. So we'll break this down and walk you through it. But the first component is, what will people hear that will stop them in their tracks? Get them to pay attention to what you have to say and lean in. How do you know when you've got curiosity at play in your business? The answer is, tell me more. What did you just say? Gee, that's intriguing. It's all of those things, but curiosity is what moves you forward. And when you are building a business, the most important strategy you have to develop is getting people to move. Not to buy, but incrementally to move. That is when you're reaching consensus, and getting their attention is the first thing you need to break through. So a couple factors to consider when you are designing a hook is, it needs to be not about you. This is the really obvious one. Nobody actually cares what you have to say, even in a networking room. What they care about is themselves. And so you need to twist your view and your lens to think about, what does your audience need to hear? What are their goals and fears? And how can you tap into that? You want to show that you understand and you've thought about their journey. Because the biggest thing we want as human beings is to feel seen. So see them and connect to them in your hook by using something that speaks to them. You can make it relevant and topical. Don't be frightened to flex. I said, style flex your intro. If something really big is happening on the news or media, use that platform and translate it into your hook. And remember, there are 2 things that make people move in life. It is going to be pain, or it is going to be pleasure. And sadly, the truth is, most of us move more quickly through pain than we ever do by pleasure. So you need to tap into their pain. But I want to just highlight here, when I say pain, when you think the problem is surface, you will not connect to an audience. When you have the bravery to use a story that is honest, raw, you will break through the clutter. And I did it with you when I started in the room today. I told you about walking into a hotel lobby and what it was like to be fired, and how I used that platform to create a new life and the business that I have today. Everybody could relate to that journey. The looks on your faces, it's true. I cried all night on the bathroom floor, but I am immediately human to you. I'm not my business name. So I want you to think about hook. Hook is what will make people stop, pay attention to what you have to say. This needs to be short and punchy. And if you're going to use questions, pause long enough for people to digest it, hear it, and respond to it. Because if you use multiple questions as a hook, which can be a good strategy, they start to believe that you're looking for a rhetorical question, in which case they will not answer you. You do not want to create the habit of non-response. You want to create the response of movement. Small steps will pull them forward on the journey. So that's the element number 1 in using story. The second thing is the story itself. One of the most powerful ways for people to get you, see you, and understand you is to use your origin story. This shows how you are an expert. It focuses on a single scene. And what I mean by this is nobody wants your whole life story. Drop them like a first page of a novel into your storyline. I told you I walked into a hotel lobby. I didn't tell you about the 6 years I was successful in business and the millions of dollars I raised for that business. Drop them into the first page of a story because they're going to go, wait, what's happening? I want to know. That's very effective in your audience interruption of the chatter going around their brains. It's short. You want to craft it 2 or 3 sentences, slowing it down enough so they can pause and go, is that relevant to me or someone I know? You've got to be you. You know, if you're not excited when you introduce your business about your business, people feel it. And I can't tell you how many times I have been through networking meetings where people seem so bored with their business because they've given the same infomercial over and over and over again. And they're talking about transforming other people's lives. I'm like, you are so bored. Why would I ever want to do business with you? Just being honest. Sherry, seriously, have you seen it? Right? Like, la, 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 my company is X and I'm here to transform your life. And by the way, I want you to send me 5 clients today. Like, stop that. Please just stop that. I want you to show your passion. Why are you in business? Come on, if you're not sure of your why, then come talk to me because your why has to pull you past being afraid. And if you can tell a vulnerable story or share a client's vulnerable story and the breakthrough and result, you will see your calendar light up. And the goal of Curiosity is a one-to-one meeting where you can tell more about your story, more about what lights you up, more about the impact you want to create. And that's all necessary before you get to the how. The how comes later. The what and why is what you need to focus on in your infomercial, because that's the people bit. And remember, people do business with people they like, know, and trust, and respect. And so while you and I might not see eye to eye, and maybe you've never been fired, respect is a good place to start. Likability is necessary in order for someone to spend money with you. And I said, your origin story is the most impactful one you have, because you know what we crave? That word authenticity. And yet, if you are sounding like everybody else in your origin story, people don't feel you authentically. And a great lead-in, I'll give you an example here, can be, you know, lots of people know that I'm successful and they see the confidence on a screen. And today, you know, it was hard to get out of the shower. I'm stuck in overwhelm. I've just come back from holiday, spent 10 days with my family, which was high stress, sprinkled in with a couple of days of fun. And I have got a full calendar, full commitment. And I was like, oh my God, I just want to go back to bed. So you might not know that about me, but I have days like that too. So if you want to know how to get out of overwhelm, you should come do one thing for me. Go watch the video I posted on YouTube that talks about how to come out of overwhelm. It's 2 minutes or less. Might help you today. That was my infomercial. You connected to me. I showed my vulnerability and I gave you a 1-step action. So we've talked the hook, we've talked the story, and now you need to give some type of action. This is a really big one because I see it missed all the time. So if I had one other takeaway other than curiosity, I want you to take away is I need a call to action. And the call to action is not go find my details in the chat. Because we know you're going to put it in the chat. You're here to meet people. But the call to action is the bridge. Okay, you've told some story. You've got my attention. Now, what do you want me to do? You need to bridge for them. It is about the so what factor. Why did the story matter? What did I want you to take from the story? What do I want you to do? And here it is, your call to action, because you know I said I'm all about simplicity, is one thing. It does not go buy my product. Just note this really specifically. It does not go buy my product. I just met you. You sat in a room and maybe I've heard you speak for 45 seconds to a minute. I'm not going to go spend $2,000 on a program with you. So don't make that your call to action. But what's an easy yes? Okay, that's the message here. What is an easy yes? It could be things like share a post, come to a free workshop. It might be, I am looking for one specific referral tied to your story. It is not, I need a chiropractor, realtor, unicorn who makes this amount of money and is desperate for my business. And like, nobody is taking action. Like, so if your call to action is that, it's because a cluttered mind, a confused mind will do nothing. So think about, what is your call to action? One thing that bridges your story to a do, an easy yes. And make it easy for people to do it. And then thank them for doing it. Reciprocity is built by supporting each other. If you want to be a person people want to spend time with, show up and support them and have a clear ask. It'd be great if you could support me doing this one thing. And here it is all laid out. Could you please go share my LinkedIn post? Could you please go and post this? I've written the copy for it. Make it easy, but you must have a call to action, because again, what's the purpose here? You are trying to create curiosity, to grow your business, book one-to-one meetings, move a relationship forward, and to be seen, liked, trusted. And most importantly, people want you to have fun. So again, I'm going to go back to, if you're bored about your business, why are you in business? This should be something that lights you up. And I think the best compliment when I'm networking is, I love your energy. I wanted to come spend time with you because I loved your energy. And I show up. It doesn't matter what crisis I had 3 seconds before I came on the call. In the call, this is your first impression of me. And if you're distracted, not attending, doing other things, and you're only on while someone says, please do your intro, people see that. It's disrespectful. So be there or don't be there. But if you're going to be there, think about your first impression. Know what you want out of the meeting. Use a short hook. Have a simple story that shows impact, shows a result, and has one call to action, because stories are what sells. So I want to come off mute, and I want to know if anybody wants to rethink about their intro and is brave enough and wants to try one using this format. If anybody who's brave enough who wants to give it a try.
Okay, so I'll try. So I don't have the whole thing, but like you said, tell a story. So in 2019, I was just about paralyzed, living by myself, just about paralyzed for 3.5, 4 months. And I was scared. I didn't know which way to turn. The doctors were not helping me. You know, I could start with something like that. It's a vulnerability. It's a story. It's true. And now I've turned my health around on my own through some help and guidance through some of my great network. And, you know, if you have pain and inflammation or scary medical situation and you need someone to be there to help you, I might be able to do that. Now, I don't know how to say it, right? But that's just where I'm at.
So you can do it through emojis or come off chat. How did you feel that was as a group versus her first intro? Are you leaning in?
Yes, because I heard more of the story. So that was valuable.
It's very valuable. It's very valuable to show this was a moment in time. You're being the bridge in that example. I thought you did a great job for being put on the spot. The one thing I will tell you is you must be confident in your ask. And I know you just were on the spot. So when someone says, this is my story, I know I pulled myself out of it, I can be a resource for you versus I might be able to help you. Because again, the work that they must do is on their end.
Right.
but you need to be confident in your ask. Because remember, what are they going to buy from you first? Your confidence and your likability way before they buy the product. So you need to lean in when you're asking. So this is just a tip for everyone here. Lean in with a call to action, confident that it's a easy movement. And it could be, I know I can help you, book a call or subscribe to something, but think about what it is for your business or download this resource. It's a great place to start because this is a start of a conversation. But just a tip to the group, you got to be clear with your ask and be confident in it. My coach always says to me when it talks about, making the scary ask, always remember, if you're not confident, they won't be either. So that's just a food for thought. So great job, Sherry. I really appreciate you jumping in to share that. So well done for being brave.
So I have a question for you real quick.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
if I tell that story
Mhm.
and then say over the last couple of years, I've been working on my own health
Mhm.
with help from guidance and transform my health completely. And do you, when do you say who you are? Do you say who you are first?
You don't need to.
Say, I want to tell you a little story or?
Yeah, you just jump right into it. You think about what's the first page of a book?
Okay.
Scene was set 5 p.m.
And then after you tell them about your vulnerability, you say, I'm Sherry Mills. I'm a functional
Yeah,
nutrition.
I don't think you need to tell people what you do. Really, I'm controversial in this because people don't care so much about the labels. I think labels are dangerous. Here's why.
Okay.
People, I'm a coach, right? So people go, oh, she's a coach. I know what she does. You've never talked to me. How do you know what I do? There's a million different kinds of coaches and a million different ways to help. And the word functional medicine is popular, but maybe not understood in how and what does it really mean, because I've never explored it. So I don't like the labels personally. I don't coach my clients to do that because I say, if you said, I have overcome some great adversity and I have a great passion for telling people it's possible and for being the guide to bring them through it. Isn't that worth a conversation? That's enough to get your meeting booked. And when someone comes to you and books your one-to-one meeting, that's when you get into the conversation of this is what I really do. Because at that point, they're like, tell me about that journey. I'm sure it wasn't easy. I've got some health concerns. What does functional medicine really mean? But that's a conversation where you're in a dialogue. If you use words in an introduction, half your audience will check out. So you can lead them into an action without saying, this is what I do, and here's my phone number. So it will feel hard, and it will be something you often by rote put into it. But make a Post-it note and say, does your audience actually need to know what you do? Not yet. They haven't asked. You want them to ask. That's the key. So I talk about with your curiosity. Create intrigue. What's in it for them?
Are you taping this, Christine, so I can watch it again?
Yes, I got this recording. So it's a really important one because I said, go back to remember where we start. Your goal is curiosity. Your goal is to book a one-to-one. The what and the why are what you want to focus on. Because the how, which is your title, maybe your company, maybe your programs, and the kind of the rabbit trail you follow, the best time to introduce that is when somebody says to you, can you tell me a little bit more about that? What does that really mean? But that's done in a dialogue. Otherwise, what we see, and this is where you're not effective on your first impression, is you have told the story 100 times and you vomit it at people. Mm-hmm. This is what functional medicine is. This is how I can fix you. You're crazy if you don't want to do it. And people feel on the back step. What you're wanting to do in your infomercial here is to invite them into knowing your journey, because they're going to watch you be the guide to themselves, possibly, but the guide through someone else. Because the moment you tell me in 2019, you almost had that really difficult 3-month period of time, I'm thinking, who do I know who's in that place? And the fact that you can say, I found a way out. I'm curious. Let's set up a one-to-one. And that will see more effectiveness in your business. It's not the nuts and bolts. The nuts and bolts for is how you get lost. And using words that people commonly use, like I say, job titles. So whether it's, I'm a coach, I'm a financial advisor, I'm in health and wellness. If you're in that space, you know that that's enough, not enough detail, because there's a million specialties in it. But I want to tell you I'm a specialist when you've asked me, what is your specialty? Do that in a dialogue, do that in the one-to-one, leave enough on the room. Again, this is sort of counterintuitive, but leave enough on the table that they have to pick it up to learn more. That's why your hook is short, where your story is a scene and not the whole storyline. And there's a simple, easy yes that you ask the audience to pursue. Make sense? Okay, so here are 4 of my favorite ways to structure a story, a hook, and a call to action. So one of the most impactful ways is social proof. You know, you can say you're great at business and that you've lived your own personal journey. Your biggest story is always your own. And it's probably the one we don't want to share many times because it's really vulnerable. So it's sometimes easier to share a client one, but people want to know your impact. They don't want to know the how. They want to know the impact. So that's my 3rd key thing I want you to take away. What is the impact of my story, of my business, of my why? What is my purpose? That's what people care about. So I will tell you very candidly that transformation only comes after transaction. One of the biggest mistakes I see early stage entrepreneurs often make is that they give away everything for free. Nobody values what you give for free, ever. So they need skin in the game. They are paying for the transformation and they are betting on your confidence and your capability and asking you to be the guide to help them build it for themselves. That's what you do in your business at basic level. Don't lose sight of that. So one of the great impacts I will talk about is, what do I do? I'm a business success coach. I'm like, well, I took a client who had been in business 16 months, was spending tens of thousands of dollars on programs, support, teams, and tools, and has 0 revenue. I showed up to be a podcast guest and she asked me to be a client or to be a client of mine. In 90 days, we got clear on her offer, identified 2 target markets, created a content plan, and she launched a summit with 18 speakers and added 450 people to her client list. She's not spinning in circles anymore. Who do you know who is lost in their business, spending money like crazy and not seeing results? They're a great person to make aware of my services. And here's a free resource to get them started. And I might give like this workshop that we're in, or some other course or resource, but that's a client win that you're suddenly thinking, who do I know? And possibly also thinking, oh, I think that might be me. But a recent client win or breakthrough can be a great testimonial. It is social proof. If you're going to talk about that, make sure you know the impact and have a clear call to action. The call to action doesn't say, if you want more information, come find me. I want you to fine tune that. If you want to see if working with me can get you the same result, let's have a conversation. See how that subtle difference is made? Number 1 is, if you want more information, come find me. Sort of abdicates and pushes back, versus if you want to know if we could get similar results for you as we did for them, wouldn't that be worth the conversation? It's an easy yes. Yes, I'm curious if I can get the same result. That's number 1. Number 2 is share what problem you solve. Okay, what's really important when we're networking, we often think about the solution. And so we want to talk about the solution. Well, no one knows and cares about the solution because they don't know they have the problem. Right? They don't. They're like, that's interesting, not relevant to me. But the problem is not the problem you think it is. And you need to go a little bit deeper. It's a bit like peeling an onion. And I'll give you an example because it comes to life here. But the example is, the solution is I sell skincare. So I have a client of mine that came to me and says, I sell skincare and my problem is bad skin. So all of her messaging in the networking conversations in her social media is about, you've got bad skin, come talk to me about my skincare. And it's not working very well. Why? Because if you have bad skin, do you want to be called out for having bad skin publicly? Not likely. Again, don't shame your audience ever. Invite them into the conversation that it is a choice they can move from. But the problem isn't bad skin. It's what does bad skin cost you? It costs you income. I'm sorry, but it's true. It costs you income. You do not get the same salaries, opportunities if you have not got a good, positive comfort in your skin. It costs you relationships. It may mean that you don't put yourself out there visibly on screen because you feel judged. It costs you your future. So if I was to talk to you about how do you be confident in your skin so that you can have the income, the wealth, the relationships, and the opportunities that you dream of, would you be interested in talking to me? Yes, you would. That's why I'm creating curiosity. So really think about this. I spend a lot of time with this in the workshop that I do about audience building, because you need to get clear on what's the problem. If they do not know they have a problem, you talking at the solution is wasted energy. What's in it for them? Remember, they want to be seen. And they want to know that someone else has found a way out. Be the light. I always say to my clients, it's really important that you be the footprints in the sand. They don't need to see you necessarily right away, but they need to know there's footprints to follow, and you need to have a trail that follows it. And if you can create enough trail, guess what? You build an audience. They show up in your inbox, they show up on your screens, they show up in your calendar and say, I'd like to know what that means, or I'm curious. Those are my favorite words to hear. So that's number 2. What's the problem you solve? It's a great way to do your infomercial. The third one is to share a story focused around your so what factors. So often we make statements, but we never tell the so what, and which could be, for example, do you want to make money? Okay, well, you might get a yes, might get a no. What does the money create? Well, it creates might make you sleep better at night. It might make your ability to put your kids into programs. It might mean that you are not afraid to answer your phone. But what's the so what of any statement you make? Tell me why it matters. Because if you can show me why it matters, it makes me feel as an audience that you understand me and you're taking me on a journey, and I'm leaning in to follow the footprints in the sand. So I always say to people, don't leave it at the surface level. Tell me why it matters. You simply doing that will stand you so far out of the sameness that you will be in a whole new field. Because so often people get through their infomercial and say, okay, I'm done, and my details are in the chat. You never told me why it matter. And in my previous example, I said to you, if I could get you the same results that I got from my client, Mary Elaine, would you be interested in having a conversation? I've shown you the so what, because the so what is the results for you that mean what? Success, clients, impact, revenue, stopping struggle. But I spent time thinking about what your so whats are. Remember, your infomercial is not about you. It's about connecting an audience to a problem where you're the bridge to the other side. What does crossing the bridge mean? Why are they motivated to cross the bridge? If they're not motivated to cross the bridge, guess what will happen? They will never spend money to have the transformation. Then they're not your client. Okay, don't try to drag people uphill who are not ready to transform, who are clear on what's on the other side of the bridge and why it's worth it. Show me why it's worth it, and you will never struggle with clients finding them. You just won't. So the so what factors are really important. I said they're a core component of my audience building workshop, and it's one of my favorite things to talk about because the so what is missed by 99% of the people you will meet networking. It's an easy win. And the final one is the why. So if you're meeting people for more than the first time, so that's the relationship bit that Lisa was talking about. Why do I want to get involved in networking? Well, because I want to build relationships. The first time you meet is kind of that what or that how piece, right? It's the what and the why. But later on comes the how, but people want to know why you're in it. Your why story has to be so compelling that it pulls you past convenience. When people choose to do work with you, it's because they believe you are committed to your why. Do it scared. Do it without the money. Do it because you are compelled to create impact. This is a really good, effective way to talk about standing out if your audience or people in the room already know you. Because they might know your business. They've probably heard your infomercial in a couple of different ways. But talk about why you're not quitting on your dreams. Talk about why you're not prepared to let opportunity pass you by. It's 100% okay to show up and say, in a safe space, especially if you're in a network that you belong to, I am trying new things because I do not want to get to the end of the month, the end of the year, the end of my life and have regret. So I'm going to share vulnerably a story with you today. God, am I listening? Are you? Absolutely, I'm listening. And I'm supporting you. And if you are brave enough to be vulnerable, I will tell you, people will admire you and lean in. It will be the biggest spark for how do I actually refer people to you? Because I believe in your why and I want to support it. People will support your why. It's easier to support yours than it is to support themselves. Truth is, we will always do more for others than we can do for ourselves. But if you share vulnerably, they will do it. So here are 4 styles, okay? Just to recap, show a client win or breakthrough. Talk about the problem that you solve. Tell me what's the bridge and why getting out of the problem and into a different place matters. What is going to pull me past convenience? And why is not giving up and not getting out of my own headspace and showing up is necessary. It's necessary like oxygen. And gosh, you should be excited about it, saying, I am not prepared. Because so often we think the reason I don't make offers is because my value is really obvious. Like if you know somebody and you see them with a problem you can solve, and you know that continuing in that problem costs them more than they can afford, get out of your own headspace. Simply be a good human and say, I am brave enough to tell you there's a bridge. And for a select group of people, I'm the right bridge to walk you over it. You're not for everybody. That's why you need to be authentic. That's why you need to use your language. That's why you need to find your own words. But that audience will feel so seen by you. And you as the business owner is like, I see you. It is not about me. I'm here to serve and serve at the very highest level. That's how you create consistency in your business. So I'm going to give someone else an opportunity now. Is anybody brave enough to want to come in and do it? Denise?
I will.
Okay.
I will.
I have a
Mine's
question,
little bit, mine's
Kristen.
about a minute long though. Is
Okay,
that
let Denise go first and then Deborah can go.
Oh, Denise? Okay.
Yeah, we'll go Denise first and then Deborah.
Can I ask a quick question, Kristen?
Sure. Yeah.
Some networking events kind of give you a guideline to
Yep.
go by when you're giving your commercial, like give your name, your company name, and what you do in one sentence.
Yep.
Do you recommend doing that and then going into a possible story, or what would you recommend if you're attending an event that, you know, is asking you to do that?
I don't do it. And you probably see me do it. I don't, because remember, that's an easy, lazy way to direct an audience. It doesn't help you. So when someone says to me, tell me your name and your interest in things like that, I simply choose to say, what does my audience want? My audience honestly doesn't give a flying fig what my name is and what my company name is. So I don't. I simply be the rebel that says, what does my audience need? And if I'm early in the audience, I will change the dynamic of the room to something that's more effective. Because it's more, what's really important is that you have the courage to say, what's the most effective way I can make this hour work for me? If you think giving your name and your business name is effective, go for it. If you do not, own your space.
Okay, thank you.
And what you can do is say, I'm not going to bore you with the details. Instead, I want to tell you a story. So you sort of have asked for permission, but remember, this is about your impact. Don't follow bad advice.
Awesome.
That's what I would
Thank
say.
you for that.
You're welcome. Okay, Denise, go for it.
Mary is standing on the edge of the sidewalk, looking at the cars that's driving away from her, and the tears start to pour down her eyes. She never thought that letting her youngest leave to college to another city and now becoming an empty nester would hurt so much. She never planned for an exit strategy. How do I exit from being a staying-at-home mom? What do I do now? I recommend what I would like you to join
Okay,
my
pause,
master class.
regroup,
Pause.
keep going.
Join my masterclass and find out how you can make your exit plan strategy from being a stay-at-home mom and how you can thrive for the rest of your life instead of die.
Love it. Feedback, guys. Do you love it? Love it. Yes, because that drops us in. All of us are going, if you have any kids that have left home, all of us go, oh God, I know what that feels like. And yeah, I wish somebody had told me there were strategies, because it does. Part of you dies and you're lost. And a great way to talk about that, this is just a tip on language because I'm a language person, is to say, is to talk about, yes, where you feel like you're dying, this is a roadmap to be found. If the opposite is lost and down, lead me to a light alternative, because that is what, we talk about the pain, you've connected to my pain, but show me that there is light. People want hope. Always remember that, lead with hope. Okay, Deborah, you want to try?
Yes,
This is
thank you.
hold on, you said this is a roadmap to what?
This is a roadmap to hope.
Mm.
I got to think back, anybody,
It's recorded.
yeah. Have to go back and rewatch.
Perfect.
I think you said a roadmap to light or
Roadmap
something.
to light, I did, thank you.
So I did this one, and I didn't start with this because it's a minute, about a minute. So any help or suggestions are welcome to shorten it. But I start out with, who loves the hugs and laughter with our children? My client Anna also enjoyed her boys until the dreaded morning routine. Anna felt frustrated and angry as her kids weren't listening, yelling at them and then feeling guilty. Anna tried reading books, yet they didn't reflect her life. And she went to free lectures that didn't give her actionable steps. This awesome mom knew she needed to learn a better way. After working with me, Anna learned a simple technique for her complex issue. She put it into action, and later the same day, her 5-year-old son said, "Mommy, you didn't yell at me all day." It just warms my heart. A new relationship has formed, a new bond. And I can help you too with even more methods to bring calm to the chaos. Please text CALM, C-A-L-M, with your email address to 847-845-3341 for the Ditch the Chaos Guide. Thank you.
Okay, great job. It's very evocative because and I love that, right? It's the vulnerability of, yeah, you know what, we did. We started the morning great, and 3 seconds later, I am the shrew screaming at my kids. All of us, and then we think, I'm a bad mom. How can I be such a bad mom? I love these people. They make me crazy. Could you just do that the first time I asked, instead of watching my head spin around? We've all been there. It's very, very connection. My one comment to you would be, I would do something other than a text, because no one will capture the number. So you can say, you can say, I have a link. You don't need to say it's in the chat, but you can say there's a link, download. But nobody will capture listening, because I'm still in the story, to the call to action.
How about putting the phone number if she wants to do that in her name? Text, text,
Yes, you could absolutely put it in your
add
script.
it to the name.
In the chat.
the chat, but add it to your name and your description, right?
Yep, the way that she's got Serenity Expert. So that's an important one too, depending on the room you're in, thinking about what do you want to do. So many times instead of my name, I might put, my website, which is christinecampbellrappin.com, because it's exactly what you're already going to see, my name. But I also might be changing it to something relevant to my audience. Grab your free Calm guide and give a direction, right? So be cautious on the call to action with the phone number. Love that it's short and sweet, but don't read it. I would drop it in the chat.
Okay, and I can do a link as well. I was just, some people like texting, some people
Well,
like.
you can say, text Calm to the number in the chat. You could do that instead of reading the number, because no one will capture the number.
That's
And
true.
that will just give you a bit of space at the end. And the one thing I would still rephrase with the way you had said it was, I have a lot of tools and ways to do that. Focus on one. Remember to do a scene. So if you're saying, I helped Anna with one tool and she had a success story, it's, I have a repertoire. What one tool will move your needle? It's not to say that you don't do many tools with somebody, but people will be overwhelmed by, oh God, she's going to offer me lots of things. And then a confused mind won't move. So one thing that you might be able to offer, or the same resource you gave her, doesn't mean you give the same resource you gave her, but people know there's a resource to be had.
Okay.
And then you can customize it in the conversation so that it's going to make the biggest impact. And say, if you wish that you were Anna, and then you weren't having the meltdown that you had this morning, text Calm, I will send you the resource. And then when you send the resource, you can say, and there's other tools here too.
I love that. Thank you. What do you think of the name Ditch the Chaos?
I think it's not necessarily relevant. It's too broad.
Okay. So it should be more specific to what I'm offering them.
Yeah. Because chaos can mean a lot of different things. If it's, tantrums and tiaras or whatever it might be. It's, again, really try to be more specific, because ditching the chaos, like chaos means a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Right.
And maybe the goal isn't ditching it entirely. It might be just making it livable. And that's
so it's an actual technique to get your children to listen.
Okay. So maybe there's something in that. Don't necessarily have to have a catchphrase on it. It's a tool to help your kids listen. That is really specific. Versus ditch the chaos, which I'm like not really sure what that means. But you're like, I need a tool to help my kids listen.
When you said that, something that came to mind is almost like a radio, and you tune into the right frequency so that they can hear you. Right?
Yeah, and that's your goal. Because I said, you're here. The goal is curiosity to a small group of people who are going to totally connect to your vulnerability, your story, or that moment, that scene that you found me in. And for those of them that are not in that scene, you want them to walk by. It sounds counterintuitive, because I think we often think we need to serve everybody, but you don't. You want to serve somebody who's ready to move, and somebody who's really going to connect to, oh my God, I totally had that meltdown and I am tired of white knuckling it, because you may have told the story 10 times to this networking group, but today's the day I reached my level. And today, if you said to me, there's a tool to stop my kids from listen or get them to listen, today's the day I'm going to pick you up on the offer, because it's clear. It's not complicated. There's no spin on it. I know we love spin and people always want great hooks. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
It's counterintuitive, but it will actually help you stand out more, because we don't say what we mean too often.
You're absolutely right. Thank you so much. And I loved your suggestion to share a post as an offer.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it sharing a specific post, or how do you make it easy for them if they're going on your Facebook page to share a post? I mean,
is you can copy the link. So if it's a public place, so if it's on your Facebook that's public, posted, not to friends only, or if it's on LinkedIn, you can copy the link and you drop the link saying, I want you to share this post.
Got it.
And why? So what? Don't forget the why. This is always my hot button, but tell me the why. Share this post because somebody needs desperately a tool to get their kids stop yelling at each other or whatever it is. But it's not enough to say, just do it. Do it because this is the result. So important to do that last bit. It's lost all the time. This is how you will make your business move. Yeah, sure.
Excellent.
So-
Thank you.
So like that, I was going to add something similar to that. So at the end, the call to action. So this is a brand new business for me. I just started doing a LinkedIn newsletter.
Mhm.
That'll be bi-weekly. I just published my first one yesterday all by myself.
Well done.
And so I obviously am reaching out to my network and saying, I would love for you to share this with your network and post something, like I'm looking forward to more healthy tips to further my journey and my own wellness or something like that, to grab more. I was really impressed. I got 333 subscribers in less than 24 hours.
Awesome.
So you think it would be okay that at the end you tell your little story and just your name. And if you know someone that is going through some rough health crisis that, I can be a resource for, I
Yep.
would love an introduction. And by the way, I've started a Healthy Tips newsletter. I'm going to drop my link into the chat. I would love it if you would, visit it, subscribe, maybe share it to your
Yeah, too many asks, people get
Okay.
lost. So
Okay.
you can say, who do you know who needs this? Here's a resource, please share. Because
Okay.
it's going to be obvious that when you share a resource that they can reach out to you. Okay, you don't need to ask them to do that. So make it one ask, a simple
Okay.
one. And it's not, it's not do you know, it's who do you know?
Who do you know?
Small change, big difference. Who do you know who needs this? It's a free resource, share it.
Yeah, because it's just healthy tips and talking about antioxidants and different things. But
Yeah,
it'll
so
be-
let's recap the call to action because this is really important. So again, it's an easy one step. So you don't want them to, share, subscribe, or do one thing saying, I want this week you to subscribe. Next week, I want you to share. Next week, I want you to ring the bell. Next thing I want you to do is comment. It's still the same theme, but one action, because if they can't do it in under a minute or less, they won't do it.
Right.
So think about that. That's why they're not going to go register for your program. Too much work. But I need you to share this. It'll take you 5 seconds or less. Thank you very much. And everybody that shares, please go back and have manners. I mean this kindly, but have manners. Go back and say, I really appreciate that. Thank you. How can I help you? Reciprocity is built through relationships.
Mhm.
But easy ask, the power of one. Always audit your asks. It's really easy if we don't be intentional with our plan, that we clutter it. I do this all the time. So I'm just being honest. I do it all the time. Go back and go strip that out, make sure it's one thing they can do in under a minute. And that's one thing you can say to them. Super easy to do. I'd like you to comment on this. It will take you less than a minute. Really appreciate it. Because remember, you're planting seeds and you're going to keep showing up and keep planting more seeds and keep having the conversations. You do not need to go from first date to marriage in one network session. And I want to talk about one final thing here, which is prepared links. You should have prepared links. If you're going to get somebody to post, share, or take action, make sure you've included the HTTP in it. Don't make them have to copy and paste and find it. They won't do it. Again, any stumbling block becomes a barrier for the action. And one thing I think is really important is if you're going to give out your calendar link and you want people to meet with you, I would encourage you to make sure that that is a calendar link that is on your website. Why? Because the website allows them to play around your universe a little bit before they book it. Yes, you can definitely use your Calendly link. In certain settings, I might do that. But if I'm meeting people for the first time, I want them to explore who I am. So I always direct them back to the hub of my business, which is my website. And they might go look at coaching. They might go look at my business videos. They might go look at the fact I run a community. I have no idea where they jump into my storyline. That's why I'm always telling one scene at a time. I'm really cultivating my first impression. And they choose when to engage. That's why, interestingly enough, I would say 98% of my clients come to me and they've never engaged in my social media, but they're all watching. I don't know where. I'm like, where did you find me? Oh, I heard you speak at this event. or I heard about your community through someone else, or I saw your post on LinkedIn. Like you got to be visible. And that talks about that demand of building the demand. One call to action, power one, and be prepared to give them one next step on a journey. Because every time you get somebody to move, let's go back to the very beginning, you're creating curiosity to get them to move. You are creating the habit of them saying yes to you. Okay, in their head, it might not be the words yes, but it is, agreement. You're right, I will take the next step. If you create the habit of saying yes, by the time that they eventually say to you, tell me what it's like to work with you, guess what happens? They're preconditioned to say yes. That makes the struggle of finding clients a whole lot easier. So think about the small incremental movements. Don't get caught in the complexity of trying to go from first date to marriage. Keep it really, really, really simple. Okay. And I am mindful of time. So I just want to, I will share this. You'll have the recording, but it's important to practice this. So here are 4 places that I play when I network regularly. So if you want to come along as my guest. The first one is a women's only group. It's the Bold, Beautiful, and in Business, which CIBN runs. It is a monthly mixer. It's 90 minutes. There's 2 speakers. It happens, usually I think it's the second Tuesday of every month, but July we're doing it on the 5th, okay? CIBN also hosts regular meetings for different audiences, Europe, USA, and Canada. They're a great group of people. Come along. I love the Explore Pro Tech Entrepreneurial Haven. This is something they do, a global online speed networking event. The one happening next week is on the 23rd. What I love about that is you are not allowed to introduce yourself with your business as you enter what, okay? So you go into this meeting and they will ask you some random, like, find me the coolest object in your room and talk about it for a minute. Because it will help you practice this skill. Business comes second. Coffee and conversation comes first. They're a great group to go and practice the skill set at. And then another great women group that I belong to is the Polka Dot Powerhouse Women. Same thing. This is not about you self-grandiosing your business as in tell me how amazing you are. It's how are you helping other people? How are you connecting to other people? Connection is more important. And the conversation comes with celebrating your wins, which could be, I took a risk. I told a vulnerable story. I got out of my way and tried something new for the first time. But those are 4 groups that I belong to. I belong to several others as well. Grand Connections, another great community, of course, because I'm speaking at them and I love the ladies there. We're going to do some great things, but practice. Okay, I want you as the takeaway, keep practicing those 4 different ways and try to break the habit of being yourself, which is, hi, my name is and my business is X. Even when they say to you, Lisa, please go and introduce yourselves. Just know that this is your chance to stand out. Take it. Take it. And then this is it. I'm just going to give you really quickly, just when we talk about demand, you cannot launch a product if you do not have an audience. And so I do run, and I'm running my next group, which is an Achieving Client Consistently workshop. This is really about building the so whats that I talked about. It is debunking the myths of what it takes to build a business. It is crystal clear on your so what factors. There's 3 of them. It's understanding the value ladder, understanding how do you get visible. We'll be pulling in some of the stuff we cover here today. It is 4 weeks of intensive conversation where you're going to have action items every single week to implement the strategy to build your audience. Because I really, truly believe that the most important thing you can do is go make friends with strangers, make a great first impression, and people will pull you forward. They will ask you, how do I support you? They will ask you, what makes you awesome? This is what it's all about. So I thank you all for being here, for jumping in, for giving yourselves opportunity to play in a new, unfamiliar way. It's really important. That's the key. Take the risks. You are what makes your business unique. Own it. Any questions before we pop off and wrap up, and then I will send the recording out.
I just had a question on the last one that you had, the networking groups. It didn't have any dates. It just said twice a month.
They run every week. Yeah, so I can send the links when I do the recap. I will send the links out. So the Bold and Beautiful is the 5th, And I said, you can send me your email and say, these are the ones I want to attend, and I'll put you on the list as my guest. Come and check out the communities, but the CIBN runs every single week. So it's just every week on those dates. The 23rd is the Gossan event, and the Polka Dot Powerhouse is an international group. So you can pick chapters near you, but they run, every chapter runs 2 meetings a month. And the great thing I love about that membership is you can go anywhere within the network. So if you want to go make some friends in a different state and you want to grow your business outside of your home market, you can.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. This has been wonderful.
You're very
It has. Thank you so much, Christine.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. I appreciate you guys taking some time to spend some time with me today.
Absolutely. Look forward to the links.
Yes,
I'll
stay
definitely
tuned. I will send those out.
And I can write my script.
And keep practicing. You know, this is the key thing. I always say to my clients, you know, I go network with my clients intentionally so that we can talk about what this is and then doing it. Because, you know, if you rock up late to a networking event or you were distracted and somebody says, you know, go do your, hey, Christine, the floor is yours. And suddenly it's like, hi, my name is Christine and I'm a business coach. You do need to be intentional with this and think about why. Because if you leave impacts less than your best foot forward,
Right,
it snowballs. So keep trying. And let me know how it goes. You know, I'd love to know what it feels like. And it will feel weird and you will feel nervous and you will feel outside your comfort zone. I will tell you, having worked with hundreds of clients all over the world, this will make your business more successful. So even if nobody else is doing it, go do it. People want to hear your story. They want to hear what makes you you. And they're all tired of making it in the room about, you know, myself. Like, stop being a hit and run.
Can I tell you a funny, the best, or it was the best challenge I had in networking was we had the restriction of 7 seconds and 24 words for your intro. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I never said my name first, ever. I want them to know what I do. And then if you're interested, you know, so I love that you suggested that.
You want them to move. Like, always remember, the goal is movement. And if the goal is, I'm curious, like, who are you? Well, that just shows you've made breakthrough.
Mm-hmm.
Telling you, you know, my business is Clear Acceleration. I mean, there's a reason that it's Clear Acceleration. When I'm about accelerating the growth of your business, and clear, it's an acronym, but it's also what I'm really great at is clarity. If you are clear, you can gain confidence. And if you have confidence and clarity, guess what? Results are easy. But nobody needs to know that when they're meeting me for a first time. They feel it. That's important. Make sure you're looking after your energy. Because if you only had 10 seconds, my name and my company is not the thing I want you to know. But it might be, you know, I've lived in 5 countries and 30 cities. I run a global business. You can too. Would you be interested? Okay, where? Why? What's going on? I tell people, well, 2 things. People assume I'm either in the military, I'm not. And what do I use as my hook? I might be in witness protection, but I can't tell you that. And you all laugh like that. That is my intentional hook. I'm a global nomad. I run a global business. And now you're wondering, why has she moved around so much? And if you move around a lot, you're going to go, great, there's another person who gets me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also made you chuckle, which is good energy. You lift. So think about it, but you have to be intentional. And as I said, if you want to come along, a great thing to do is build your audience. And from that point, I said, it's practice. And if you want to help practice, open invitation, that's what I do for my business. So more importantly, go do it. If I can help in any way, it'd be my pleasure. And if you need support, resources, don't be shy. I'm a great connector and I run a free community. So I will, that's also be included in the recap. But I run a free community for entrepreneurs. I give coaching in it twice a week and bring in different speakers. It's a great place to just learn from and network. Tell people who you are. People need resources. They need what you have to offer, so be brave. You've totally got this.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great one. We will see
you.
you on the next one. Take care. Have a great afternoon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.